What happened was when Andrew Wakefield was going to apply to get his license back as well with John Walker Smith. John Walker Smith was funded, but he wasn't. But by that time, they basically, I really, you look into the reporter and his connection to the pharmaceutical company that went after him and wrote the report up about him.
Wait a minute. A
They don't
pharmaceutical
talk,
company would go after
you know,
somebody who falsified a study about their product. I wonder why they would do that.
Well, maybe it was because he was telling the truth instead of falsifying anything, and maybe it's because the pharmaceutical industries make huge profits off of vaccines and vaccines injuries. So, why would they go after a doctor that's cutting into their profits? Very curious, right?
Okay. I'm just going to leave it in the links. Everything's wrong about that. Okay. I'm just going to say, because I just feel like anything that I say, like you don't really research or do, but then you're like, oh, well, I don't need to read the study. Yeah, you do need to read the study.
It says it was falsified. Why would I read a falsified study? What purpose is there at all?
Because you're making claims and saying that there was a causative link between autisms and vaccines. He never said that in the study, and then it was with African American boys. Like, what are you talking about? It was 12 kids. It was a small study. He said it need further investigation, and they did not. They found that there was a link between his patients actually, which came to him because he was a gastrointestinologist, and it's really a highly known fact that people that have autism have gastrointestinal problems, and that this due to the parents. He wrote this in the study, not even his observations. The parents told him that they developed symptoms from all their symptoms developed after the NMR vaccine. He says he does notice, this is what they told him. He does not support this, but further investigation needs to be done.
Wait, but you're
so
talking
you don't even know what you're talking
but,
about.
but you're talking
American boys.
But you're talking about Wakefield?
Yes. So
Okay,
Are you flipping kidding me? Look at the chat, yo. You look at the chat. Halsey says, Dan Jocelyn, this was his only study. This isn't his only study. He had at least 130, I think more now at the time, published in the land. Like, are you kidding? He was one of the top gastrointestinologists in the world. This is his only study? Are you flipping? Yeah, now I know you're just making shit up.
Didn't you start off in the first question I asked you and you discredited Wakefield and said that you weren't an anti-vaxxer who based anything on Wakefield?
Oh, I was just saying I don't like to be, people just think that that's the only source that we have is that we go, they say, oh, you read that paper by Wakefield and now you're an anti-vaxxer. I did read it because I wanted to know the story, but I have so many other references or resources and personal experiences as to why I have does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I was just asking because I remember.
You know what I mean?
I've been in a trance for 3 hours. That was the only thing I remembered was that question.
So you should read it. And there's also a really good interview with Dale Bigtree interviewing after Wakefield. There's another guy, Arthur Krigman, who actually replicated his study. And that's another thing people say, oh, nobody's replicated his study. They have. So, I mean, yeah, I think you do. I'm just saying.
Well, that's a good point, Dan Jocelyn. Dan Jocelyn just said, see, this is the real problem with fake news. It's very hard to say that anything is fucking true right now. Well, and I have a quote that I made myself.
Well, I mean, it is if you actually read and look at the other side. We talk about liberals not doing the same thing, but you're not doing that. With this.
No, I think Dan was just making. I think Dan was just making the point in general that everything now is becoming so confusing because nobody knows what to believe anymore.
Well, I think that we're just overwhelmed with information and we're trusting people to tell us stuff, and we put our faith in people that are.
That should be experts in their field, yeah.
Yeah, but there are people that are experts and they're also, financially compromised, or like I said, there's a lot of conflict of interest in this industry with people that are giving advice on medicine and vaccines as well. So that's
what I think. Yeah, money, corruption, and then also, politics, being involved with medicine.
And and the pharmaceutical schools, running the med schools. Pharmaceutical companies running the med schools and giving them money and controlling the curriculum and writing textbooks for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge.
All right. So you guys, everyone knows you're in two separate booths, but in the same room. You're going to come out. We're going to need to arm wrestle, and then they want to see a mud wrestling match, and then Halsey is going to never do vaccines again, and Versteen's going to shoot up on vaccines. That's going to be the end of how we end this thing. Brian Hendricks is going to get drunk and hang out with everyone in the chat tonight.
Typically what I do.
So I think that's what I said to a lot of people that had to leave because it was getting late were texting me.
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
I said,
you guys are going to post your notes and references in the chat for people that want to follow back up. And you guys, like, we could do a shorter one if you guys now have this and want to submit like actual questions like I've been asking you all day to do. But I know it's a confusing topic for a lot of people that don't follow it all the time.
This went on for 3.5 hours, 3 hours of which was arguing about shedding and smallpox.
I know, dude.
But the nice thing is we didn't talk about Spygate, Russiagate, the wall, Trump.
I wanted to speak more about genetic immunities versus Versteen's position that they're somehow, developed through a healthy lifestyle and not necessarily genetic.
Another good book. You should read this.
Wait, could you Versteen, could you just read it? Because some people listen to audio only. I mean, just read the title of it.
Dissolving Illusions by Suzanne Humphries and Roman Bistrianic, and then Neil Miller's Critical Vaccine Studies. Those are two main ones. There are a couple of others I heard are good. I have How to End the Autism Epidemic. I haven't read that one yet, though, so I can't really speak on it. But this has a lot of info, historical info, and incidences of disease, dissolving illusions, and a lot of the references he uses. He has over 800 references. You can actually go and you can find the studies.
Well, let me ask you, when did autism, Brian or any of you guys, when did autism start to explode? Because I know in the last 10, 12, 15 years, we started talking about autism all the time. Was it in relation to like one type of vaccine being released? Is there any correlation between that?
Well, first, I think you have to really define autism and the gradations therein of, because autism is, as far as I know, is a developmental disorder, which can have other complications, which Versteen was talking about, gastrointestinal complications and things like that. But it seems like so much more now is being diagnosed as autism, just like we saw ADD explode and the big Ritalin explosion, and you scratch your head, I wonder why everybody's got ADD now. Could it possibly be because they have to sell you this drug? And I just wonder, I'm not making any claim, positive or negative. I just wonder if autism might be in that same vein, that there is some nefarious purpose why everybody's getting fucking diagnosed with autism now. And people are proud to have autism. You see people on Twitter all day, every day saying, please ignore me, I have autism.
That's a whole thing. You should look up the neurodiversity movement. It's very, it's kind of like the whole like sexual fluidity movement, like autism. It's kind of, I think it's a lot of bullshit.
And Brian has talked about on this show too, related to that. There's a lot of like LARPers in this world that start to pretend they have it. Especially with the Chans, right? And with QAnon, a lot of people want to claim they're autistic, like it's cool to be autistic. And you're sitting there like, why would you say it's cool? Yeah. Do you even understand the varying degrees? Now, I've worked with a few different people that have had Asperger's, and one was a great programmer. One was, Alex Roberts writes for all these great writers.
Even those people have high suicide rates.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But
they have trouble relating to other people, and
Oh yeah. Like Alex says, he really has no emotion. He has no emotion. He has to learn how to like treat people. He goes to therapy and everything. So it's not something. I think like a lot of things we're doing today, whether it's the gender fluidity or it's that, and we start to push it and glorify these things. And then you have people that LARP and pretend they are, like Brian has addressed with a number of issues that have become political topics,
Yeah.
So Halsey's autistic. Look at him over there. He's down there playing with his blocks.
I'm getting tired. I think I bored everybody. But
you haven't bored anybody.
It's a huge topic. That's why, like I said, years I've listened to Michael Savage as a conservative talker, but I always liked him because he had a science background. And I today when I was reading about this, I found an old rant he went on, and he was just saying to a caller who wanted a definitive answer, and he's like, it's tough. I would have to like research and debate every vaccine and look into these things. It's not something I could just give you the answer right now. So I don't, so that's like with you, there's a lot of research on both sides, and everyone's waiting for the mud wrestling match.
I got so burned out on research doing 4 years of microbiology. Then you turn around and you're in a laboratory again doing 3 years of evolutionary biology. I said, for the rest of my life, I just want to do something where I can sit on my ass and not have to work so damn hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired, guys.
Yeah, guys, it's time to
wrap it on up.
Huh?
It's time to wrap it up. That's
all right,
for sure.
guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
Actually, I know we got heated, but it was actually pretty pleasant. It wasn't so bad.
So I thought.
Oh no, I'm really glad that you were able to make it. I'm really glad. So seriously, we'll get more into this in the future. We'll do this again. Okay? Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for turning up.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoy the debate. For each episode, I put links to all the stuff I was talking about in the debate. So check those out. Remember, knowledge is power. Don't let people think that you can't learn about the subject just because you're a layperson or you're not in the medical field, or you're not a scientific person. There's so many resources out there, freedom of information. You can get studies that are published as a layperson, and you can use, now you can look up, if you need terminology, there are medical and science dictionaries online. There are forums where you can ask other scientists certain questions that are really, that are real scientists. There, if you have friends that are in the medical industry, or they can take, if you have questions, you can, there's always resources that you can go to help explain stuff to you. So don't feel like this is above your head. This is just my intent. I want people to know, because I feel like the more you know, the less people can bully you. And I'm very grateful that I know this information, because I understand what real health is, and I'm not, every time there's like a disease, like what, 4 years, somebody I saw this great meme the other day. It was like Zika, oh my God. And then like Ebola, oh my God. Every like year or two, there's like a new disease scare. But once you understand how all of that works, right? But where's the disease? How many times are they going to scare us with the disease scare, and like nothing happens? People always fall for it because people are just scared. They see those movies like The Stand and like, Contagion. They think that, plagues did happen. I'm not saying that they happened, but in the environment that we live in now with, good sanitation, and we take our trash away and we incinerate it, and we have a sewage system, and we don't live as close to one another as we used to, and well, some just depends, I guess. But there are other factors that have dealt with keeping diseases at bay, and it's not vaccines. So anyway, that's it, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I wonder how many of you guys made it through all these little episodes. Let me know if you watch all of them in the description. I will be very impressed. And if not, I understand. If you got through some of it, that's fine. If you got through, like the first episode, that's fine. I just hope that you were able to learn something. So if you've been affected by vaccines, if you are just starting to research vaccines, let me know in the links. I want to know where you're coming from. If you hate me and you're mad, I guess you can comment too, but don't expect me to be nice to you. I'm not gonna, no. I mean, if you have questions, I'm not saying you have to totally agree with me, but I'm saying like, don't just like, sit up there and call me names. Have legitimate questions to ask if you don't agree. All right, that's it, y'all. All right, peace and love. Bye-bye. Mwah.